everyone, and welcome back to another episode of Femboy Fishing. So today we are at probably one of my favorite trout streams. This particular trout stream is it's a really special trout stream. I've actually been wanting to film a video here for the past 2 years. I've just been kind of neglecting it because I didn't really know how I could explain to you guys the significance of the fish that are in here. Essentially, I won't get into too many details, but this particular creek has a particular strain of rainbow trout, which are found almost nowhere else on Earth. There's a really cool story behind it, and this is one of my favorite places to catch wild trout. It's one of the closest wild trout streams to my house. I thought maybe a good way to kick off season 3 would be to come here and show you guys this creek. So right now, the creek is really high. We got a bunch of rain like 2 days ago, and it filled up the water level and made it kind of higher. And this is really good, because what this means is that it means the water is slightly high and off color. Kind of see how it's just that slight tint of like greenish turquoise blue? That is the perfect water to fish for trout in. Because this kind of water, trout are very active with all that extra dissolved oxygen coming in from the current. They are very active and very mobile, and they're feeding a lot because all that extra water is kicking up so much food off of the banks, like aquatic insects and all sorts of things, that they're feeding like crazy. If you can fish a trout stream when it's just slightly high and off color, those are some of the best fishing conditions you can have for trout, especially on a cloudy day like this when visibility is lower. You don't spook them as bad. So anyways, I've got 2 fly rods here that I'm going to be primarily using. The one I'm probably going to use the most today is this one, and this is my Euro nymphing rod. Now I'm going to try to explain Euro nymphing to you guys as simply as I can. It's kind of a complicated version of regular like nymphing on the fly, where you're using nymphs, except these ones are heavier. Basically, using this method, it's a lot more subtle, and when the water gets high like this, you can really get down deep with these heavier flies that are designed to get straight down to the bottom and get right to where the fish are. So I'm still kind of new to Euro nymphing too, so just take what I say with a grain of salt, but I'm going to be primarily using that. And then I've got my 3-weight fly rod here, which is just a regular fly rod, and it's got one of my little woolly buggers that I tied on there. I call it the sculpiny bugger. This thing works really well for trout and all sorts of other species. It's one of my favorite buggers to tie that I make. We'll just be using both of these fly rods, and hopefully we'll catch a fish here. Something I should mention about this creek: getting snags happens constantly. And there goes my whole rig. That's so irritating. That's the only stonefly in Rainbow Warrior I have in that color. All right, I'm just gonna fish the 3-weight for right now. I don't feel like re-rigging that back up. So something we really need to watch out for right now is reds. See those like light colored spots right there? I don't know if that's a red in particular. It could be, but basically reds are trout spawning beds. And what they'll do is they'll kick up an area of gravel with their fins to lay their eggs. And it creates these kinds of light colored spots, which again, it's hard to tell what's a red or not. That could be a red right there. So I'm gonna step around that. Let's go around it. You just gotta be careful. We're kind of in the post-spawning period right now, so most of the fish are off of the reds, but I have seen a few reds with fish on it, so we just gotta be careful. That's fish. I wasn't even planning on catching anything, I was just stripping it back. Hang on. This is going to be kind of sketchy, but I gotta get down these rocks to find it. Look at that fish. That is an absolutely gorgeous trout. See you later, buddy. All right, cool. I caught him on my 3-weight too, on my bugger. I was just stripping it back, and then one came up and took it. We might just use the 3-weight for the rest of the day if it ends up being like that. What do you think, Rester? So I am immensely happy to get one for you guys. I figured we would get one today. I haven't been skunked at this creek in a long time. I've been fishing this creek for like 3 years, and especially within this last year, I've really been fishing it. So I've been kind of getting used to it and figuring out what the fish like. But I guess I should probably explain to you guys what makes a wild trout different than a stock trout. So a stocked trout is a trout that was raised in a fish hatchery by humans and dumped into a creek. They tend to be a bit dumber, and they're also stocked at a bigger size. Wild trout are trout that naturally reproduce, which is something that outside of their native range, depending on where you go, is a lot more rare. And in this particular creek, it's extra special because these fish that are in here are found nowhere else on Earth. In their original native range, other types of rainbow trout were stocked with them. What that ended up doing was it ended up making the place that these trout came from 100 years ago, those trout became genetically diluted, and these ones are still genetically pure from when they were stocked. So essentially, this is one of the last places on Earth that has this particular pure strain of fish. Other Missouri wild trout streams also have this strain, but they're not genetically pure like these ones are. That's what makes these ones so significant. Anyway, enough history. Fish facts. Let's get back to fishing. Lester, get back. You're in the way, Lester. So I was gonna fish the tail out of this pool, but it looks like there might be a spawning bed down there. Something I need to stress to you guys, do not ever fish on trout spawning beds. I mean, unless you live in a place where they're like highly invasive and, you know, they're trying to get rid of them. Like, I know in some places like Australia, trout are a big nuisance, but for the most part, you know, if these trout are protected under law and you see a spawning bed, you know, with trout on it, don't mess with the trout, just leave them be. They're making the next generation of trout for us to catch. So you guys see that light spot down there? That's what I was hoping would have some trout on it, because I want to show you guys them spawning. But yeah, we'll just keep moving down. I don't want to mess with fish that might be spawning. I just saw a bunch of trout. Actually, there's still some sitting in there. You guys probably can't see them, but there's some sitting like right at the top of this riffle. So what I've been doing is I've been taking my bugger and throwing it downstream on the edge and letting the current kind of let it swing to the other side, and then I just kind of slowly strip it back in. And to them, that might look like a crayfish. It might look like a little sculpin fish or a minnow, or it could be anything, but they seem to like that, so I'll keep trying it. Get back. Get back, Rester. Good boy. Oh, something just tried to swipe it. There we go. First cast. Another decent sized one. They're so beautiful. I really need to show you guys this one. This one is just all lit up in color. Look at the coloration on this one. I mean, can you guys see? I guess there's a lot of sun glare, but just look at like the reds and just the bright like par marks, and it is gorgeous. Anyway, thanks for letting me catch you, buddy. I'll see you later. Okay, it took a little bit, but I tied on a new Euro rig. So I've got what's called a waltz worm right there. I don't know if the camera's focusing on that, but it's called a waltz worm. And then I put on this little Euro nymph styled copper john that I tied last night. And copper johns mimic like a stonefly, so that probably all sounds like a bunch of mumbo jumbo to most of you, but those are real fly names. Okay, so I was walking downstream. Remember how I said to you guys I wanted to show you guys a red? I found a red over here. You see that big open patch? That big light patch in the water? That's one giant red. Which, by the way, red means trout spawning bed. That's what they're called. You guys see them swimming around over there? They kind of blend in a lot more than you would think. Oh. was a good freaking fish, whatever it was. Guys, this is incredibly irritating. I've hooked 2 fish in this run, and the one I just hooked was like a big one. I mean, like, I saw its size. It was probably 16, 17 inches, which for this creek, that's massive. That would be one of the biggest ones I've hooked in here. The problem is that with these Euro rods, because of the way the hooks are designed and stuff, you have to set the hook to the side. Like, you have to pull your rod to the side when a fish bites it. And normally with fly fishing, you hook it up. You pull it up. So that's what I keep doing. I keep pulling up. This is rough. This is very rough. I'll keep trying though. These are all pretty. He is beautiful. Trust everybody, and you just get out of the way. I had to step off camera for a second to be able to land him, but finally hooked one on the Euro rod. Been catching them on buggers all day. I finally actually hook set one properly and caught one. Look at him. Yeah. He is beautiful. Go ahead and let him go. That is a very good fish. No, don't go that way. Don't go that way. Don't go that way. That is a good fish to hook this to. You guys, that is one of the biggest wild trout I have hooked in a while. Let's hold this guy up to show you guys. Look at him. That is a good freaking trout. That is a beautiful wild trout. Thanks for letting me catch you, buddy. I'll see you later. Man, what a great fish to end the episode on. Let's go. Oh, that's awesome. Thank you guys so much for watching another episode of Femboy Fishing. I think we did really good today. Despite the problems just being kind of all over the place, we still caught a lot of really, really cool fish. The fact that all these fish are like unique only to this place, it's just really cool. I had been putting off fishing this creek for so long for an episode because I wanted to do a special video on this creek because of the fish that are in here. Even though we decided to film it today for the first time, I still wouldn't mind putting together like a documentary about this place because this creek's trout are really special and there's a really cool story behind them. So if you guys would like to see that, just let me know in the comments. As always, be sure to leave any comments or any suggestions, anything you guys might like. One more thing that I want to mention, I'm going to try to up the upload schedule just a bit. I've got a lot of stuff going on in my life, so sometimes it's hard to put out videos, but I think I'm at a point where I can put out a video maybe once every 2 weeks. I don't like making an episode and then leaving you guys in the dark for like 2, 3, 4 months on a long hiatus. So anyway, thank you all so much for watching, and I'll see y'all later.
Oh, that's what we're gonna ask.